What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Fox Fantasy Insiders, brought to you by Gaming Generations. My name is Lucas.
And I'm Justin.
And we're your Fox Fantasy Insiders. For those of you who are returning to our show, welcome back. And for those of you who may just be tuning in for the first time, welcome. This is a show where Justin and I just talk about fantasy football. Each week's a little bit different. I think every week so far, this is our fifth episode this year, we've been discussing different topics. Tips and tricks, us tilting.
Yeah, stardom, sit-ems.
Yeah, we do
over-unders.
We do a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
It's a good time.
We're just here to have a good time and talk fantasy with you guys and just kind of see what's out there in the world.
Exactly. So here we are at week 5. How did week 4 go for you? What were your biggest takeaways? I know the touchdown number went up from like the first 4 weeks.
Yeah.
That was kind of like, why is no one scoring? Obviously, you had the Mel Kiper, like the 2 safety up top and that whole argument. But the touchdown number went up for the noon slate of games. The afternoon slate was kind of low-scoring slugfest. That was one of my takeaways. It's like, okay, the number's going up. We're seeing some more like fantasy, like relevancy. What did you see from week 4?
Just the Vikings still looking good. You know what it is.
Yeah.
But however.
Well, okay, so here we are in La Crosse, Wisconsin, recording this show. La Crosse is really close to Minnesota, and you're a Vikings fan.
Yeah, 5 minutes over the bridge.
For people that don't know, Justin is a hardcore Vikings fan, and
just let us have it.
How are you feeling?
I feel great.
4-0, you went to Lambeau, and at first, the Vikings looked like they were just going to like punch the Packers in the face, and then it looks like you gave them a couple bandages, and you're like, get back up.
Yeah, I'm grateful we won. A win is a win. After halftime, we were up 28-0, and I love Kevin O'Connell as a coach. The only thing is he just stops. He lets off the gas. He lets
it's like prevent defense when there's a whole quarter and a half left.
You
it's
have
like
2 full quarters left, and he's just letting off the throttle and not doing anything, and he's just lets teams catch back up, and now we're in the situation that we were in.
Yeah.
Thinking that we're about to lose the game.
Yeah.
And I don't like that. That's one thing I don't like about Kevin O'Connell. It's just, let's go full throttle, all 4 quarters.
Yeah, you got the dub, though, 4-0. Broncos.
Feeling good.
For people that don't know, I'm a Broncos fan, and that game was a win.
It was a win.
But it was a really boring win in the rain.
Yeah.
But I'll take a win on the road any day.
And if you guys, watched our last week's episode, where we were talking about stardom sit-ems, we brought up Garrett Wilson. And
hopefully you sat him.
Yeah, we're sit him. Patrick Surtain's going to be on him. And he was, and he got locked up, didn't do anything, so.
Yeah, we know what we're talking about over here.
Yeah, we're professionals.
I'll talk a little bit about last episode too. We talked about sleepers.
Yep.
And we talked about the Panthers offense, just overall a sleeper team. Chuba Hubbard did amazing, 22 points. Deontay Johnson, 22 points.
Ooh.
I think this offense is just flowing with Andy Dalton under center.
Sure.
I
agree.
They're looking like a whole different team.
Yeah.
And it's kind of exciting. It's kind of you're seeing some promise for their first round pick, Xavier Legette. Oh. So he could get going.
Yeah.
So he could be a possible stash if you're in redraft and he's just sitting out on the waiver wire.
I have him.
Because Adam Thielen, he's on the IR. Yep. They're going to need someone else to step up. So it's a little diamond right there.
Do you think that the reason why Andy Dalton's doing so good is because he can see over the line?
A little short joke there. It's actually a possibility.
Bryce Young is short. Think about it. Where he throws the balls.
Yeah.
It's in terrible positioning, and is that just because he can't see? You know what I mean?
Let's be completely honest. Being tall is an advantage at the quarterback position. It really is.
You have to see over 6'6", 300-pound dudes.
You have Kyler Murray that's short, that has shown he can succeed.
Yeah.
But he is just, you can argue that he's an outlier at that height, at that position. Never every short guy that's mobile can be Kyler Murray. Yeah. Kyler Murray's really good, and he's got a deep ball.
So quick.
I don't think I really saw a deep ball from Bryce Young that was good in a while. Do I think Bryce Young's like career over? No, I think he can go somewhere else and get a different system down.
Like the Dolphins?
I mean, well, if Tua, yeah, I don't know. It's fun conversation to think about because here we are in week 5. A lot of things have happened. A lot of things are going to change. We're just kind of in
fantasy football.
A fun, exciting time here. But yeah, hopefully you guys hopped on those sleepers because they kind of hit. So we got a brand new episode for you guys here today. We're going to check up on our My Guys. We each had 2 My Guys. Just see how those guys are doing. And then we're going to talk a little bit about fantasy football regrets. Like I said, we're here in week 5.
Yep.
A lot has happened and a lot is going to change. So we're going to talk a little bit about some regrets here.
Yeah.
But
before we do that,
yeah,
let's hear a word from our sponsor.
Check out Gaming Generations, where the gaming world comes to life. Embrace the gaming lifestyle with friends, new and old, and rediscover those classic games with their wide range of retro gaming options. From consoles to headsets and controllers, they have it all. You could trade in your games for cash or store credit and always get the best deals. Do you guys need a quick fix? Well, don't go picking up a used phone off the waivers this year. If your phone goes down this season, don't worry, Gaming Generation has got you covered. From phones, tablets, laptops, consoles, controllers, and more, their walk-in repairs will make sure that you are covered. At Gaming Generations, they always make it their priority to help their customers. Gaming Generations, where your gaming dreams come to life.
And thank you, Gaming Generations, for sponsoring the show. It wouldn't be what it is without you.
Yeah, obviously we have a bunch of Gaming Generations merch. We're rocking these awesome tees.
So soft.
Yeah, it's nice material. Yeah, it's nice material. But check out Gaming Generations if you haven't done so already. Now, Justin, My Guys time. All right, so if you guys don't know what My Guys are, beginning of the season, way beginning, like week 0.
1.
Yeah.
Yep.
We picked out 2 guys each, and these were our guys that we wanted to follow throughout the season.
Right.
And these were, we just called it our My Guys. These are guys that we have a strong connection with. They're our boys. We got them on text message and Snapchat. We're just like, yo, how you doing? So they're chill. But let's talk about your My Guy first, your first one.
Sure, I'll go with one of them.
Because
one of the 2 right now.
When we did check in, like 2 weeks ago, your My Guys weren't succeeding.
Yeah.
Now I think we can have a different conversation.
On one of them, yes. Okay, my first one that is Tank Dell, and just unfortunately, it might be a chalked season for him.
I hope not.
In my opinion. Yeah, I don't either. He's my guy. Like, I have him on multiple teams at Dynasty. But, I said in week 1 that we are going to fear from the beginning that this could happen with the addition of Stephon Diggs. And now it seems like that fear is a reality.
A lot of mouths to feed in that offense.
It is. And C.J. Stroud is a great quarterback, but that can only go so far.
Right.
You have Nico Collins and Stephon Diggs and Joe Mixon when he's healthy. Let's just look at his route percentage or participation. He's out in the field 85% of the time, but his target share is only 16%.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's not a bad number, but it's just he doesn't do anything with it.
Yeah.
They're running him on jet sweeps and he's a gadget.
Yeah, it's more specialized plays for him. Obviously, he was injured last week. He didn't even play at all.
Right.
I think he's returning this week. It's kind of a bad matchup, so if you do have Tank Dell and you're wondering, can I play him? With the injury, the bad matchup, I'd probably try to play someone else. They're playing the Bills.
He's riding my bench.
Yeah.
Until I see something.
Yeah. Let's talk about your other My Guy who's actually, his stock's going up.
Yeah, absolutely. So going back to Tank Dell's 85% route participation and 16% target share, my other My Guy is Terry McLaurin.
Yeah.
Whose route participation is 100%. And his target share is a whopping 27%.
If you waited on Terry McLaurin, it was kind of rough in the beginning of the season. You're like, do I drop this guy?
Yeah,
if you hung on to him, you're finally seeing that reward that you were waiting for.
Yes.
So, and it's all because of Jane Daniels.
Okay.
Yeah, dude, he's good. He's good.
It's Daniels and McLaurin are finally finding that stride that we talked about 2-3 weeks ago that It's a rookie quarterback. It's going to take time to get the rapport with his receivers and his team. He looks like he's doing that right now. Let's go over just the last 2 weeks when it seems like that connection really clicked. McLaurin has caught 11 of 16 targets for 152 yards.
16 targets.
And has a touchdown in both of those games.
Okay.
So I guess with how the trend's looking, I mean, this is just a set it and forget it.
I mean, you can say that the Commanders, they're not punting like at all.
No,
there's crazy stats of them never like punting.
They've had one punt and it was like week 1.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Yeah.
So it's like there's plenty of offensive plays that are being like thrown out there. They're not having 3 and outs where it's like they're barely on the field. The offense is on the field a lot.
Yeah.
So I think Errol's just going to be pointing up for Terry McLaurin, man. It's about time this guy gets a quarterback.
I know.
It feels so good.
Yeah.
I love Terry McLaurin.
He's so talented. It's just
he
really hasn't had a quarterback to ball out with.
Yeah, no. Sweet.
But
so
there's a check-in on both of my guys. One's promising, one's kind of tanking down.
See what you did there.
Yeah.
That's funny.
What about you? Let's check in with yours.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be very brief about my guys. I'll talk about my first one, Drake London. He's been consistent, His target share is pretty. 12 targets last week, but only 13 fantasy points. All I know is he's involved. Big games will come, and I like it a lot. I love Drake London. Yep. He's got just this body build that's like an alpha, and it's nice that he has a upgrade at quarterback, and you're starting to see that this fantasy season. I think he was going probably mid-second round in redraft leagues, and I think that's paying off right now because he is consistent. I mean, big games are ahead. So then JSN. This is kind of like a later draft pick if you go back to like redrafting. He also received 12 targets last week, which is just delightful. If any targets over like 9, you're just like licking your fingers. Yep. It's like, this is sweet. So opportunities. Yeah, it's opportunities. Both these guys are getting tons of opportunities. Geno Smith is benefiting from JSN too because he's got DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, and JSN, 3 elite wide receivers.
And then you have Kenny Walker rolling out the back.
Yeah, and the Seahawks look pretty good, man. But all I know is both these guys. I mean, JSN is getting opportunities. I just feel like his role is only going to get bigger and better. Remember, this is only his sophomore season.
Yeah, and it's only week 5.
Yeah, so I'm all in on JSN. Depending on who you have and what your decisions are. I mean, he's not like a must start every week, but I think he's a really good flex option every week. You know what I mean?
I have him starting and
yeah, it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a fun player. But yeah, there's our little my guy check-in here. And now let's talk a little bit about
some regrets.
Some regrets here, some regrets, okay? So
no regrets.
Here we are in week 5, like I said, a lot has happened.
Yeah.
A lot will change. However, there will always, always, always be fantasy football regrets. Let's just get the sad violin out and start playing a sad song here. And let's talk about some of these. So, Justin, I'm going to ask you first. What would you do differently if the season started today with the information we know right now?
Yeah, not drafting Kyle Pitts.
Here we go again. I feel okay. Yeah,
dude. That was the number one item on my biggest regrets list. Is Kyle Pitts. And granted, this is the very first year that I've ever had him.
He hooked you in because of the Kirk Cousins quarterback change, and this is his time. He's still really young. There's a lot of promise with the young tight end. He was 8th overall in the draft back a couple years ago.
And it's like I know what Kirk Cousins can do. And I know the rapport with his tight ends. And I thought, that's what it was going to be. But boy, was I wrong. He only had 2 targets last week.
Yeah.
Didn't catch him. Didn't catch either of them. Just sitting on my tight end spot with the goose egg. And it irritates me. Yeah. So knowing Kyle Pitts,
Kyle Pitts is so difficult. And I came out publicly during our fantasy football draft party for work and just said I've never been in on Kyle Pitts. Right now, his stock is low.
Yeah.
He's pretty bad.
Very.
In dynasty leagues, would you trade a late second for Kyle Pitts right now?
Nope.
You just want nothing to do with him.
Don't want anything to do with him.
You want he's a roster clog in your opinion.
I'm keeping my second round pick, and I'm going to use that on a better player that I don't even know anything about.
Yeah. I mean, we can say, hey, Kyle Pitts might be in the same like role as like Evan Ingram, where he didn't like break out, or he broke out like the first year and then waited like 5 years to break out again. So I mean, tight ends are weird where they can break out at like 28 years old.
It is super weird. I mean, they just seem to use him as a lineman.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, another regret could be Christian McCaffrey. Like we talking about drafting players. Man, Christian McCaffrey owners have to be just like punching themselves in the side here.
Yeah.
But we didn't know.
No.
You know what I mean?
Everyone thought he was playing.
Yeah, but I mean, who would be the 101 right now in fantasy drafts? Who would be first overall?
Probably Derrick Henry.
Really? You don't think like Saquon? I think like Saquon Barkley almost.
Saquon or Derrick Henry. I mean,
maybe like a wide receiver. I mean, maybe CeeDee Lamb-ish.
I mean, he hasn't really been doing that good.
Who's the best wide receiver right now? I mean, probably. I mean, that's there's not a definitive wide receiver one.
No.
I mean, there is, but like.
I mean,
Amon-Ra St. Brown's been doing okay, but there's a lot of mouths to feed.
Jefferson.
Yeah.
I mean, he hasn't been having big games, but when it comes to like fantasy football numbers, it's consistent.
Yeah.
It's above 14 points every week. I mean, it's not a lot, but.
Right. Can I go back to Kyle Pitts and just.
Oh, yeah. Rub it in.
Yeah,
Take the knife, shank me.
No. So Kyle Pitts has been awful. What's up with Mark Andrews? He's had 2 straight games with 0 points.
Yeah,
double goose. He's double goosing it. What is going on?
I don't know. I mean, Lamar threw him the ball, and he just dropped it.
Yeah, I mean, the guy's a great blocker, which is like
that's probably why he's out there.
Almost like bad because it's like, oh, he's a great blocker. Yeah, we want him out there.
Right.
But Isaiah Likely may be the better pass catcher. At least Kyle Pitts isn't Mark Andrews. And I think, I mean, you spent more draft capital on Mark Andrews than Kyle Pitts. So I think. I mean, that's depending on your style. But at least you don't have Mark Andrews, right?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I want to talk a little bit about preseason hype because I think a lot of people hype up the preseason.
Yeah.
You know, and preseason and regular season are 2 different beasts. You know, offenses aren't showing everything.
For sure.
You know, not experienced players are participating in the matchups. I mean, preseason hype, the Broncos looked awesome. I'm not saying the Broncos aren't going to be awesome. We've seen some flashes. Bo Nix looked like a
stud.
Just a stud in preseason.
Yep.
And I remember like talking to my dad. I was like, it's preseason. Let's lower our expectations a little bit. Not saying that I'm like regretting anything like on expectation-wise, but just realizing what's preseason, what's regular season.
For sure.
And I don't know.
I feel preseason is just for the second, third, fourth stringers.
Yeah.
Trying to make a name for themselves and trying to get on that roster spot.
Yeah. I mean,
that's just really what preseason is.
If you were watching the preseason or you followed like training camp buzz, you could have like been like, yeah, I'm in on this guy, and then drafted a certain player. So that could be a regret. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I mean, taking players too early, we can.
Yeah, let's talk about taking players too early.
You're talking about quarterbacks?
Oh, no.
Oh, I was going to talk. I'll talk about quarterbacks. Taking quarterbacks way too early.
Yeah.
Because that is awful. Briefly, this is why we don't take quarterbacks early.
I've never been that person to do that.
No, but look at Patrick Mahomes. He's a streaming quarterback right now. But if you have Patrick Mahomes, you drafted him way early.
Yeah, probably top 4.
Like quarterbacks.
Rounds 1 through 4.
Yeah. And now you're not dropping Patrick Mahomes because
no, you can't.
Someone's going to pick him up and he's never going to give him back.
No.
Now, if you have Patrick Mahomes, you feel like you have to start him because it's Patrick Mahomes, even though he's putting up
14, 15, 16 points.
Not that impressive games.
No.
No, this is why you can succeed with Geno Smith in later rounds. Yep. Or, I mean, gosh, Derek Carr, like at the beginning of the season, was doing well. He was undrafted in most fantasy leagues. So I feel like, I mean, Josh Allen, I feel like we're in a very red light, green light with him every week. It's like, I'm going to give you 30 points.
Correct.
Now I'm going to give you 5 points.
Yep.
I'm going to give you 28 points. Yeah, I'm just going to give you 7 points.
Yeah, and like, okay, in one of my leagues, all the top 5 quarterbacks were gone by, round 5, round 4. I was fortunate enough to get Jaden Daniels in the 9th round.
That's awesome.
It's just...
if you picked up Jaden Daniels and you were the Patrick Mahomes owner, you're playing Jaden Daniels over Patrick Mahomes. Just think about that.
Yeah, for sure.
It's unless it's like a super flex league, but usually, I'm talking like the standard like one quarterback league.
Like redrafts?
You don't have to spend up extremely. Because when they don't perform amazing every week, you feel like you almost like you're burning yourself a little bit because you spend so much draft capital on these guys.
Yeah, and like taking what Luke said of drafting people too early, now I'm going to go to a running back that I took in the 2nd round was Rachaad White.
Yeah.
And here are some players that were still out there when I decided I'm going to take Rachaad White. We have Alvin Kamara, James Cook, Josh Jacobs, and Kenny Walker. They were all still there.
Yeah, Kenny Walker's looking good.
And I'm like,
besides that injury.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, Rachaad White's he's the guy, but he's not. The rookie running back is starting to take over that role. He's looking good. I was in denial.
Yeah.
I'm not. I've accepted it.
Every year this happens where there's fantasy regrets on, I should have drafted this player. Shoulda, coulda, wouldas.
Yep.
Shoulda, coulda, wouldas is like the biggest pet peeve of mine when it comes to fantasy football, like hearing about it, but it's just part of the game.
Yeah.
Because we don't know the future.
No.
And we don't know these impact of these rookie running backs. Some rookie running backs, Braylon Allen, Bucky Irving, are making an impact already. And there's other rookie running backs, Blake Corum, that hasn't really done anything yet.
Right. Yeah, he's just not utilized.
Right. And he was a highly drafted running back
highly drafted,
in last year's draft.
But then you talk to someone like our GM who thinks Blake Corum is RB1 for the Rams. Hasn't even played.
Yeah. Yeah, mostly draft regrets here, but another regret that I want to bring up is saving your fab money on the waiver wire too early, because beginning of the season you want to these are like where the most rookies are out there on the waiver wire, and like the gems are out there. Now if you waited, they're all rostered. Bucky Irving is rostered now. Braylon Allen's rostered.
Yeah.
Beginning of the season, should have been more active on the waiver wire. That's probably a regret that some people are having. It sucks, but injuries happen, and you can always the waiver wire. You just gotta be proactive. We say this every week. I feel proactive on the waiver wire every Sunday. Sure. Get some stashes if you have an open slot. There's no reason to have an open slot on your bench.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, one of my leagues we don't have an IR spot, and
that's rough.
I have Isaiah Pacheco, and now he's just sitting on my bench clogging a space, and it's like, well, I can't drop him. Mm-hmm. He's going to be back, I think, by week 9 or 8, something like that, 10, 20.
Yeah, you could try packaging him off and selling him, but who wants a beat-up running back?
So he's just going to be sitting on my bench until he comes back, and I just got to ride with it. I feel like that's the biggest lesson that we got to take away from fantasy football, regardless of who you drafted and what your team looks like. You just got to ride it out. You got to ride that wave, and if you don't make playoffs or win the chip, well, there's next year. Yeah,
there's always next year.
Which
sad to think that, but here, week 5. Remember, it's a long season.
It is.
We have, a lot of weeks left of fantasy football. A lot can happen. So just hang in there. Be positive, be proactive on the waiver wire, and remember, it's just a game. Just have fun.
Just a game.
Even though it's more than a game,
it's just life. A game with a lot of money on the line.
It's life. It is life. Yeah. I'm going to end off with one more regret here.
Okay, yeah.
And it's kind of like blending two together. I want to talk about starting a player based on name value. You have this player.
I do.
And you feel like you just have to play him because you drafted him in the early rounds.
It's 3rd overall.
Who is it?
Tyreek Hill. I drafted Tyreek Hill 3rd overall.
You said before the show, we were sitting down in these chairs. Justin goes, is it weird to bench Tyreek Hill? I'm like, let's talk about
Do
it.
I have like?
So
okay.
here we are.
Here we are
talking about this.
Okay. Here are my receivers.
Yeah.
We have Tyreek Hill at the 1. This was what I had set to. And then we had Tank Dell at the 2.
Oh, God.
Yeah. And then for my flex, we had Pacheco, but he got hurt, so now I had to plug in another receiver. So at the flex spot, I'm now running Brian Thompson Jr.,
Yep.
which he's steady for me.
Yeah, he's good.
And then I also have JSN. So I took Tank Dell to that 2, and now I'm running Tyreek, JSN, and BTJ.
So who would you bench Tyreek Hill for?
That's what I'm saying. I don't...
Well, you don't bench him for just some scrub.
Like, do I place BTR in his spot and then put Kareem Hunt at the flex? You know? What do we do here?
These are possible. I mean, you got to look at matchups here and factor all of that. Personally, okay, so obviously the Dolphins just played on prime time on Monday night.
Against the Titans.
And it didn't look pretty.
No.
Tyreek Hill is a player that you used to think that he's quarterback proof, kind of like Justin Jefferson. No matter what, he's going to get his, blah, 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 blah. It looks bad. The Vikings offense looks bad. And
whoa, not the Vikings.
Oh, excuse me. Did I say the Vikings?
No.
I meant the Dolphins.
I will shank this man live for you guys.
I was thinking about I saw your
talking about
shirt.
JJ.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, the Dolphins offense looks dog.
It looks bad. Excuse me for that. There is a world where you can bench him, but when you bench him,
he's going to pop off.
And he pops off for
I'll
25 points because you know Tyreek Hill
has that potential.
Yeah. To just go off. It takes one play for that guy.
Right.
So me personally, I think I'm just blindfolding him, throwing him out there.
I know.
And just probably not watching the game.
Yeah.
I'm just going to okay, let me see some highlights on Twitter.
That's what I've been doing.
Yeah. But aside from, this kind of goes against what I just said. Yeah, you don't have to start players just on their name value or their draft capital. The draft is over. It's done.
Yep. You have your team.
So don't think that I drafted this guy in the 2nd round. I got to start him, even though a 7th round draft pick is probably doing better than him.
And that's a perfect example. Rashad White, I have him in the 2nd. He's been on my bench for the past 2 weeks.
It happens. It's fantasy football.
Yep.
Like you said, these waves are insane, man.
Yep.
It's crazy.
And it's only week 5.
Yeah.
A lot of injuries, a lot of regrets.
Yeah, a lot of regrets, but just like I said, hang in there.
Ride that wave.
It'll be okay. We're going to be right here with you for the rest of the season, crying and celebrating with all you guys.
That's right.
Hopefully you guys took some of these regrets and were like, yeah, you know what? I'm not alone type of thing, because we all have these problems.
We're right with you.
So keep your head high and fight through these tough moments here in fantasy football. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Fox Fantasy Insiders, brought to you by Gaming Generations. We will see you guys next week. Good luck in your matchups, and be sure to check out Gaming Generations for more awesome merch and awesome games.